Hi there, I'm Lisa Taylor. So nice to be here. Thank you for watching. Let me know where you're watching from. So, divine love casteth out fear. We know that. We know that in love there is no fear. So, when we are in the presence of, the experience of, the expression of love, we are in God. God is love. We are expressing as love. So, in that place, is the opportunity for everything around it to be lifted to a higher place. There's that wonderful line in the Bible, we love him because he first loved us. There was an experience I had where I I was interviewing Famous Amos. Do you remember Famous Amos chocolate chip cookies? And I traveled to a distant country, not country, distant land. I traveled 3,000 miles away to do this interview and a bunch of other interviews, and was going into Famous Amos's office. And his secretary said, "Go ahead in. It's like this double office doors." And I walk in, and he gets up from behind his desk, walks around his desk, and comes towards me with arms wide open, ready to give me a big bear hug. And that experience has stuck with me my whole life. This was years ago. He was so expressing just a divine sense of love. There was nothing attached. It was just this pure outpouring of love. And I returned it. I felt like absolutely like returned the bear hug. It wasn't awkward, but it was that place of complete unselfed pouring out on his part with no assessment, with no, let's judge the situation and see what level we're at and let's like meet in the middle, which we do all the time. I don't know about you, but like humanly speaking, we do that all the time. So God's love is not that. God's love is so pure and so unselfed that anyone in its presence, the fear drops away, the limitation drops away, the sickness drops away. Look at how Jesus loved. When Jesus loved, he loved so purely, so divinely, that people actually stood in their true likeness to God. And they were healed. They rose up. They were healed of diseases that had been going on for years. They stood and walked because the love reconciles us to God. There's actually a quote, Mary Baker Eddy has a quote in Science and Health with Key to the Scriptures, where she says, Jesus aided in reconciling man to God by giving man a truer sense of love, the divine principle. And that truer sense of love frees us from all the limitations of material belief. But divine love reconciles man, God's child, us, to God, to that true sense of who we are. And, you know, there's that, I wasn't going to share this, but I'm going to share this. There's that story in the Bible about Elijah, where he's called to, not to Zarephath or to not Nineveh. Anyway, he's called and he goes, and the widow woman is there to sustain him. And he goes, and the widow woman's child, her son, like is sick, and she says, have you called me to like call my sins to remembrance? Why are you coming here, oh man of God? Like, what is this? Her son is without breath. And he says, give me the child. And he takes the child out of her bosom and goes up to his bed, lays the child on the bed, and the breath comes back into the child, and he brings the child back. When I was reading that the other day, I, for whatever reason, was really seeing it from the woman's perspective and saying, what would that be to give your child who has no breath left in him, to give your child over to the man of God, who you were just thinking, what are you doing? You just brought all my sin to remembrance, like thinking that this is a punishment. Being willing, having the humility, trusting to say, to give your child over to God, essentially. And that last place in me that just turned it over. There's a family member who I haven't been in touch with for a number of years. And it was that moment, it was like a holy instant. It was that moment in reading that story where I just felt so aligned with her that there is nothing more that I can do humanly, and sort of placing this person in God's hands so completely that there was that was it. It was like crying uncle and saying, I got nothing else. I've done everything I can, and released them in my thought. And I just burst into tears because it was one of those holy instants where I just felt overcome with this sense of trusting God. And what happened was that happened on a Friday. On Saturday, I found out later something happened to this individual in my life. And on Sunday, after not talking for a year and a half, I got a phone call. And out of the blue, got a call from this person and had a very connected conversation. And I guarantee you that my releasing any sense of what love should look like in this relationship, of what connectedness should look like in this relationship, my completely releasing it and turning it over to God opened the door for this person to step into their highest sense of self, where they felt free to express a sense of love and a sense of connection, where it opened the door. But it opened the door because I released my sense of it. Any outlining, any what it should look like, any like they should be behaving this way. If I'm going to behave this way, only if they behave this way, which we kind of negotiate connection with people all the time, that how am I going to express love? What form is it going to take? Mrs. Eddy has this line too in Science and Health about love illumines, designates, and leads the way. Love inspires, illumines, designates, and leads the way. Right motives give pinions to thought and strength and freedom to speech and action. Like the divine love is the thing that's lifting our thought to that place of release, that place of, I'm not going to outline the outcome. I'm going to wholly trust the divine for love to be expressed in the way that God designs, not in the way that I design. Anyway, I just wanted to share that. I didn't think I was going to share that, but there you go. Love is amazing. And we can, just like Famous Amos, we can show up with arms wide open, that unselfed love, that divine unselfed love. There's that place that, whatever this, did I say this before? I'm not sure. That whatever holds human thought in line with unselfed love receives directly the divine power. That's another quote from Mrs. Eddy. It's just this incredible force and power that is all encompassing, that we don't need to separate ourselves from. We can drop all the shields, all of the judgments, all of the, I'm going to measure how much am I going to express. Just drop all that and just express, be the expression of divine love, and let that have its effect of healing on everyone around us. Anyway, so you know me. Let me know where you're watching from. I always like to see. And if you like this, share this out. And if you haven't taken advantage, for heaven's sakes, if you haven't taken advantage of the free trial membership of Morning Metaphys, where all of this happens for me, it's all in my daily practice, go to lisataylorcs.com and sign up for the free trial. Just check it out. See if you like it. Daily practice is everything. Daily spiritual practice, like aligning with love every morning. It's like, that's everything. It changes lives. And I've seen it with everybody I work with. I've seen it. So if you're not in that camp, well, if you're watching me, you're in that camp. So anyway, all right, lots of love, you guys. See you next time.